Today we're going to be talking about Dhar Mann. Dhar Mann is a YouTube channel who sort of makes these very nothing sort of morality tales. Dhar Mann in general as a figure is like obviously disingenuous. Not just like obviously somebody who's talking like this all the time is not talking like they would normally talk. Like obviously that's the case, but I mean like his videos are fake. He doesn't believe the things that he's talking about in his videos because half the time the themes don't even make any sense. And while from the outside you can sort of look at it and sort of understand what the vague idea would be, from the inside I don't think that you could make something like what Dhar Mann makes if you actually believe what you're saying. In the same way where like somebody might make an argument and from the outside that argument might seem like it makes sense, but if you actually analyze it or think about it super critically, it doesn't make any sense and it's really bad. And it's so bad actually that it becomes obvious that the person making that argument was just relying on people not thinking about it. People that know better making an argument that obviously doesn't make any sense. Because they know that somebody who's not thinking about it super critically will probably just take it for granted if it sounds on a surface level like it makes sense. But they've constructed that argument. So if it's bullshit, it's like they know it's bullshit. In the same way that Dhar Mann knows his videos are bullshit. Now there's a lot to be said about Dhar Mann videos. There's a lot to be said even about specifically the Dhar Mann videos that focus on bullying. They don't really communicate anything unless you're like maybe 5, right? Like Dhar Mann bullies are 5-year-olds. I mean, there's not it literally doesn't make sense if you're older than that, because if you're any older than that, bullying doesn't work like it does in Dhar Mann videos anymore. And I think that is a problem. You could talk about that. I'm not really going to do that so much. I'm not any sort of expert. I'm not a bully expert. I mean, I bullied a lot of kids because I was a cooler and funnier kid, but beyond that, I'm not really a bully expert. I'm really talking more about just analyzing the actual thematic makeup of Dhar Mann's videos. And a lot of this is sort of prompted by a video made by, I forgot the name. Kuncan Dastner. I assume you switched the letters. I assume that because that's such a silly name, no real person would have it. But he recently put out a video entitled "Commentary Videos on Dhar Mann Are Disappointing," and in it he says some things. I guess you could watch it. I guess I could put a link to it in the description. But in that video he says,
commentary, in my eyes, uses a lot of the reaction video format in that it shows off the content and the creator's reaction, but it requires the crucial element of having a point. I think videos in this genre have to be clear about the message you're trying to make, otherwise you don't end up saying anything in your video.
I sort of disagree with the idea that commentary videos really need to have a point. I think what a commentary video actually describes isn't just a reaction video with a message behind it. It is a video where the commentary on the thing is why you're watching. So like there's a lot of reaction videos where that wouldn't be why you were watching it, where most of the entertainment value is derived from whatever that is being reacted to, which is always sort of a thing that commentary channels sort of are toting the line of. But generally speaking, like most commentary channels, you wouldn't watch the things that they're watching if they weren't talking about it. But you know, sometimes it is the case where it's like I'm watching something that by itself I think has a lot of entertainment value, and I do sort of worry and I'm a little bit insecure sometimes that like I'm not adding that much because what I'm looking at is already so funny by itself. But I mean, there's other times where like I'm reacting to something that's, you know, not that funny, and hopefully I'm adding funny things. That's the idea. That's the plan. But personally, I just don't think that like commentary channels have to make some sort of thesis behind them. It sort of like asserts a sense of self-importance into commentary that it really doesn't need to have, because commentary has never been very important. Really, I just care if it's funny. I feel like I'm talking very boringly. I don't have a lot of gags here. And beyond that, he said that the morals behind Dhar Mann videos are generally harmless, or are generally things you can agree with. They are harmless, I guess, but I do think that they're bad. And just as often, they don't make any sense. Oh, I don't like this video already. It's already so not that funny. I have not planned this out very well, so we'll have to see. I'm going to talk about some videos that sort of show this trend. And then I'm going to show the video I reacted to a few days ago. That way I think I'll be able to sort of communicate what I'm talking about. The first video I'm going to sort of show as an example of this trend is student humiliates special ed kid. And in this video, the absolute alpha Chad bully, alpha male Sean, makes fun of the main character, Lewis, at the beginning. Because Lewis can't read so good. And by the end of the video, Lewis gets real good at reading, and then he becomes super successful. And that's the video. That's what happens. Okay. What's sort of the problem here that I'm getting at? The video seems to assert that Sean is correct about Lewis's value sort of being determined by how successful he's able to become. He's correct in that being a janitor is a worse job. I mean, not just like a worse, but it is a job deserving of less respect than writing self-help books, which I don't know if that's the case. But like, it still is doing this thing where it is equating like the value of this person with how productive they are, which shouldn't be the takeaway from the video, right? Like, bullying isn't bad because the person you're bullying might actually become successful later. Bullying is bad because you shouldn't be shitty to people. That's why it's bad. It's not bad because in 20 years they'll make a bunch of money selling people bullshit self-help garbage. And this is a thing that happens throughout Dhar Mann's videos.
Here's one that immediately stands out to me. A father abandons autistic child.
I need a smart child I can be proud of, not one with autism.
I wonder what the moral of the story is going to be, because if I'm going to guess what how the Dhar Mann video is going to go, it's going to be like, he's like, oh, my son has autism, oh, fuck, shit. But no, his son doesn't just have autism, he has autism that makes him super smart and good at something. You know, he's like super intelligent or whatever. And then his dad's like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. I was wrong to see you as like a lesser human being. You know, if he was like lower functioning, or even just like, you know, a person with autism that's like kind of on the edge, then the dad would be right.
We could have another kid. I know this isn't easy, but we have to give him up for adoption.
Dude, we could just chuck this one and sort of do a little re-roll. That's not a re-roll, that's a masturbating and comedy.
I'm not gonna argue about this, Gwen. It's either him or me.
You gotta abort this 2-year-old autistic child. Is that what you have? We're gonna go out of state to get our 2-year-old autistic child aborted.
Her ex-husband moves on and quickly forgets all about Gwen. In no time, he meets another woman and finds out they're having a baby boy together.
Dude, it would be hilarious if he has another autistic kid. He just keeps going and like marrying different women and getting them pregnant, and they keep having autistic children, and he's like, oh, I'm out of here.
Samuel does so well that he ends up getting nominated for a full ride scholarship to a very prestigious university.
Dude, he got the Dhar Mann scholarship. Sick. You can go to the Dhar Mann University. At Dhar Mann University, it's like run out of a strip mall. You go inside and it's fluorescent lights going like flickering. Like Dhar Mann's like sitting there and there's like 5 other people in the class. He's telling them like just videos. Like the whole time he's up there and he's like, then Jake learned the lesson that actually you shouldn't bully blind people. And like, that's it. The whole class is just him reciting videos that he's made. Him reciting these fables that don't have any moral that makes any sense most of the time. just over and over again for like a few hours each day. It's like a cult, and gradually these people's brains melt and dissolve into goo, and he slurps it up. He goes up to their ear with a crazy straw, and he goes and he slurps up their little brain sauce.
Hello, are you here for the Dhar Mann Scholarship Ceremony?
Actually, my son's been nominated. He scored in the top 1 percentile on the SAT.
Wow, that's very impressive. Well, go ahead and take a seat. We'll be announcing the winner momentarily.
Oh, okay, I get it. They were nominated. He's nominated, but his first kid that has autism is actually going to win because he did better, because he has autism. And as we all know, if you have autism, you're just smarter than everybody else. You're a super genius. That's what autism is. It makes you a little bit, you might be a little bit socially awkward, but you're also a super genius. It's like a character map of like skills. And like autism, they just put a whole bunch of fucking points into intelligence, and they lost all of their charisma points or whatever the fuck.
And we are so honored to announce that the winner of this year's Dhar Mann Scholarship is Chance Wilson.
We're just throwing the name Wilson out there. There was another video that they made just recently that also had somebody named Wilson in it. They're just throwing that out to just use that name willy-nilly. Dude, that's my brand. You can't just use that, dude.
I never dreamed of standing here.
Yeah, he's a high school student, this guy. He's just 18. that 5 o'clock shadow was typical of an 18-year-old.
More importantly, I proved that just because you have autism, it doesn't make you any less intelligent.
The thing is that whenever you say that, you're like implicitly stating this thing about like how people ought to be valued, and that should be oriented around intelligence. Whatever that really is. Like as though an SAT score means literally anything. What if it did mean that like somebody was less intelligent? Like would suddenly the dad be correct?
And every single Dhar Mann video is like this. Like every single Dhar Mann video, it's somebody, they assert that somebody's value is determined by like wealth or whether or not they're famous. And by the end of the video, that fundamental value is always asserted. Their worldview is correct. They're just wrong about this one person. If that person was unsuccessful, the bully characters would be right. Dhar Mann's videos always feel so hollow. The only difference between like Dhar Mann's philosophy and the philosophy of the bullies is that Dhar Mann believes just if you try hard enough, then you'll succeed. But the bullies, they don't think that. And the bullies are kind of more correct than Dhar Mann is. But they both overlap in that they both assert that a person's value is their like utility. The reason that it's wrong to bully people is not because it's shitty to treat them poorly. It's because they'll be your boss or some shit. It's like this weird fucking fantasy nonsense.
The reason people make fun of Dhar Mann is not, Dhar Mann's made a couple of videos about people making fun of him, which is funny. And the skits are all like, oh, that's so mean. And yeah, don't be mean to people, I guess. But the reason people make fun of Dhar Mann videos is because they're bad. They're bad at the one thing that they're doing. The one thing that they're saying that they're doing. Which is already something that's like kind of cringy and funny, right? Like people making these like fables, these morality tales. It's already kind of funny, but it's funnier because it's meaningless.
You could also say like the way Dhar Mann depicts bullies is not very good, just because it's not how bullies work. I don't know if bullies are usually funny people. They're funny, they're clever. And usually it's not one person, it's almost always multiple people. And the people who are bullied are usually not very likable. They're usually kind of like weird or gross. Like that's why you don't care about them, because they're weird and gross. That's why that's why whenever somebody makes fun of them, you don't care as much, because they're weird and gross. I'm saying maybe you don't feel that way, but it's pretty fucking common. And like you don't have to do that much to contribute to bullying somebody. You really don't. You probably have before. Because like ultimately, even if nobody is like specifically targeting somebody like constantly, if just like, different people are saying different things, even if it's not to the person, even if it's just around them, Like, that's still bullying. It's just not a bullying that's being directed by like one main person. It is a social, you know, thing. Even though, again, I'm not a bully expert. So I tried to make a thesis out of this, and it was bad. It made the video worse, I think. Like, comment, subscribe, and stuff, I guess. Do you guys want to see more Dhar Mann videos? Because I'll make more Dhar Mann videos. I'll make them. I'll make them those fucking Dhar Mann videos. I'll do it. It's so easy. It's so fucking easy.